Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Steph and this is Ordinary Plant Girl. If you are new here, thanks for clicking on this video, and if you are returning, thank you so much for spending more of your time with me. Today I have some repotting to do, but the special thing about the plants that I'm repotting today, or I guess they're still being repotted, but what I did was I bought replacement plants for other plants that I had that I've struggled with or that have died. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to repot those with you and give you a few life updates at the same time. So if that is something you are interested in seeing, please stick around. Well, it is muggy here in the lower mainland of BC today. It is not actually all that sunny out, but it's muggy. It feels humid, but you wouldn't know that because if I open a window, it's like it sucks all the humidity out of the house. And for me, that's kind of a good thing, but for my plants, not so much. So the windows stay closed. I have fans going, so if you can hear them, I apologize now. I'm hoping that you don't. I've got one overhead fan above me and I've got a triple fan going on in my plant room right now. But what I have here today is two of the plants that I have here. It's the third time I am trying these plants. The third time. And if it doesn't work this time, I give up. And surprisingly enough, they're both alocasias. And for the most part, my alocasias do really well unless I neglect them on purpose, which I've been known to do, like my alocasia stingray, which is no longer with me because it just didn't bring me as much joy as I thought it was going to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the plants that I got, and the soil that they are in is just, it's awful. I need to get them out of here. I've had them all about a week, maybe 10 days for a couple of them, and it's time. I had them quarantined and now it's just time to get them in something better. So this is the Alocasia Dragon Scale. Like I said, it's not looking the best, but it was the best out of the ones that I had to choose from. But I really do love the Dragon Scale. It is one of my favorites. I couldn't give up on it until I kind of go through this last time with it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull all this nasty soil. I don't know if you can see it in there, but can you see that gross, crusty mess? Yeah, this girl needs something new. And I think what I'm gonna do, I do have a few plants that are in no drainage, just something that I did myself because I'm still trying to experiment a little bit with pond. And for some reason I can grow things in perlite, but as soon as I add pond to the mix, they just don't want to make it. But this one, I think I'm gonna put in no drainage with a leca layer, and it will be soil though, because I am a soil girl. So that's what I'm gonna do with this one. And once I pull all the gross stuff off and check out the roots and whatnot, I think it should fit in there really nicely, at least for now. So that brings me to the second plant that is my third go at, and it is actually the Alocasia Silver Dragon. This one, I bought my previous two from the same store, and they came equipped with mealybugs. For the most part, mealybugs are easy enough for me to get rid of. And off the first one, it only had one mealybug. I got rid of it, but the plant still didn't survive in the end. It took a few months, but it just didn't make it. And then this one, not this one, the one before this, continuously got mealybugs. Surprisingly enough, did not spread it to anything else, but I couldn't get rid of them. It was just an ongoing, that plant practically lived in my shower because I couldn't put it anywhere else, and they just kept coming back. I would think that they were gone and I would find more babies. So I ended up just composting it because I didn't have that kind of a fight in me. I have enough of a fight with thrips. But that brings me to this third one. So I inspected this one pretty thoroughly. before I brought it home and after I got it home. And I have not seen any mealybugs, thank goodness, because I didn't want to have to deal with those again. Now this one isn't really getting anything special. I'm just gonna put it in a 5-inch pot with fresh soil. That's all I'm really gonna do for it. It's just in a nursery pot. I'll try to find a cashpo eventually that I can use that'll fit this, and then it'll be good. But I didn't want to go too far overboard with that one. Although it might actually look better in the no drainage situation, like just in this glass thingy. I almost feel like it's too big though, but we'll see. I've got the dragon scale I want to put in that one, so that's probably what I'll do there. And then last I have Scindapsus Silver Splash. I had to buy it. I had to. I don't even think it was that expensive. I don't know if the price tag is on here. Oh, it is. Okay, so it was $19.99. Not bad among the grand scheme of things. These two alocasias were actually cheaper than this. I think one was $12.99, or wait, yep. So the dragon scale was $12.99. That, you can't even see that. Let's see, get it up. Okay, so this one was $12.99. And this one was also $12.99. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get started. Oh, okay. The Scindapsus though, I am going to put in this, it's a self-watering pot, but I am gonna put some leca in the bottom. Okay, this pot is dirty, but it's been like this for so long now that I'm not worried. But I just wanna put leca in those little leg holes, because every time I try to take a plant out of here without something in the bottom, it's just, it's a pain. So I'm just gonna put leca in the bottom of this one so that I don't have the worry about the roots just going down into the water reservoir. All right, so let's get started. So let's start with, I'll start with the dragon scale. I was gonna give you a little bit of a life update at the same time, but what I'll do first is I will just point you down towards the table. Don't mind the mess around me. I've just kind of got stuff going on everywhere here. But yes, okay, so life updates. You will notice that, or if you've been here, you've noticed that my content has been very far and few between right now. Or few and far between, however you want to say that. And that's because I've kind of had a lot going on at work. Before we go there, look at those. Look at those roots. Oh, for crap's sake. Steph, mute your phone before you do this. What I was saying was, oh yeah. So if you've noticed that my content has been delayed, that's because in the past 6 weeks, I would say, a lot has gone on in my world. So in the middle of May, I was approached by my boss and I was asked if I would take on a management position, because my boss was moving someplace else in the company and she had recommended that I replace her. So this is something that for me came as a giant shock. It was completely unexpected. I had never thought about this type of a position before, and it wasn't on my radar to do. To be the manager of my team was not something that I had ever expected to do ever. So they asked me to do it and gave me some time to think about it. They didn't need an answer right away, but they still needed an answer kind of right away because her position in a different department was starting relatively soon. So they really needed to know if I wanted the position or not, or if they were going to hire someone outside of the company to take over. So I thought about it. I work with one of my best friends, and I had some anxiety about becoming her boss. I mean, she's one of my best friends. I've worked with her for 15 years at various companies. We tend to go with each other when one of us starts something new, which is kind of funny, but at the same time, you know, it makes the transition easier. But I had some serious anxiety about taking on this position and being her boss. And at the same time, I couldn't say anything to her about it because I was asked to, you know, kind of keep it to myself until I had made my decision and gone through the process of taking this job. So the thing that I found unexpected about it was, yes, they had requested that I take this job. They both thought that it would be a really good fit for me, but I still had to actually apply for the position. So that meant that I had to wait for the job to be posted, and then apply for it, and yet still go through the interview process, even though the person doing the interview was the person who asked me to take the job. But, you know, they had to be fair, so I told myself, once I decided that I was going to take it, and then I had anxiety about that, just the whole change and being the manager. So even after that, I didn't consider myself a real candidate for the role. I was very, what's the word I'm looking for? I was very, hope for the best, expect the worst. And that's where my mentality went with this whole thing. Okay, I need a chopstick or something to break this up. This is like ridiculous. I didn't expect that I was going to get the position. And I mean, I even said that if there is somebody more qualified than me to take on the role, then that's fine. One of the things that kind of solidified me as well taking on the role is I didn't want somebody new to come in and just go through everything that me and my team had done and change everything. Because it's kind of a common thing where somebody new comes in, they do try to change things, make it their own, and make as big an impact as they can, which is fine. I just didn't want that to be us. So when the post came out, a few days later, I applied for the position, and then I had an interview a few days later. And then a couple of days after that, I had my interview on a Friday, and then I had to go the entire weekend and pretty much all of Monday until the afternoon to find out that I had gotten the job. Well, after that, things moved pretty quickly. So luckily for me, I was doing some of the job already. My boss delegated between a couple of us. So for the most part, I knew how a lot of things worked. It was pretty much just the HR part of it that, and all that stuff that was going to be something that I needed to learn a lot about. And I've had a lot of support, so that was good. Anyway, so that happened. I officially took the position on paper May 29th, but with the staff, it was actually June 1st. So I've been doing this now for just over a month. Now with that did come a pay increase. And you know, that was good. And it allowed me to feel a little bit of comfort and a little bit more security with my paycheck, because I have a good job. I always considered that considered myself making good money, but at the same time, sometimes it's still hard to get through things. But that was fine. I did all of that. I got my pay increase. I started the job. And then I had decided, none of you probably know this because I don't think I've actually even really said it on my channel, but I do ride a motorcycle. And with the pay increase, I figured that I could get some stuff done to my bike. I've had it about 7 years. I learned to ride on that motorcycle, and I had decided, because I hadn't ridden for the past 2 years now, almost 3. I only rode it once in 2021. And it's just, you know, with COVID and everything, I didn't really get to get out much and stuff and get insurance and do that. But I had decided, you know what, I'm gonna get her going. I am going to get back into riding because that's something that I really want to do. So I took off one day and I went to Trev Dealey Harley Davidson, because that is what I ride. A 2001 Sportster 1200. I went there to get a battery for my bike. I called her Blueberry because she is blue. Anyway, I went in to get a battery for my motorcycle, and while I was kind of walking around, I looked on the showroom floor and I saw a bike. And this bike was very, very pretty. It's nothing brand new, anything like that. And this bike had a story. And it turned out that the bike actually belonged to one of the techs, one of the mechanics at the dealership. She was moving to Australia and couldn't take the bike with her. So I was talking to her. I just asked her a few things about the bike. I, you know, didn't really think anything of it. It was just a beautiful bike. So I talked to her for a bit. I thanked her for coming out and talking to me and letting me know about the bike. She had actually put on there all the work that she had been doing to this motorcycle over the past couple of years. And I left because all the salespeople were busy. So I had thought maybe if I could get them to run some numbers, maybe I could think about getting this bike. Well, they were all busy. So I left. I came home and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I talked to my roommate about it. I talked to another one of my best friends about it, and a couple of other close friends that all ride. And I asked them, I showed them the bike, and I actually didn't think the bike was there because somebody had sent me a picture of it. One of my friends sent me a picture of it, but it was posted in a Kelowna group. So I didn't think the bike was here. And anyway, so I couldn't stop thinking about it. I talked to my friends about it and everything. And, you know, my roommate was just like, for the price, you should just get it. And this would have been the first time that I had bought my own motorcycle. The Sportster was given to me, and it was the first time I was going to be making a purchase like this. Didn't know if I could do it, ran the numbers, went through, you know, what I had, what I could offer, what I needed to put down. Couldn't stop thinking about it, and I called the dealership about, I don't know, half an hour later. And when I was talking to the owner of the bike, she said that somebody had come in the day before and expressed interest. So I called the dealership. They were still busy. Still busy. So here I am, just losing my mind. I left a message for one of the sales guys, and I'm pacing back and forth. My roommate's girlfriend is laughing at me because I'm just internally freaking out, because I immediately after I made the phone call, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. But I waited, and finally I got a call back. Is this a corm? It is. I am gonna take this little corm off of there. Oh, it's tiny. Oh, but it was getting ready to grow anyway. So do you have that little corm there, if you can see it? Anyway, so I'm pacing, I'm, you know, having so much anxiety, and then finally my phone rings and it's the dealership. So I talked to the sales guy, asked him to, you you know, run some numbers, looked at what my payments would be like for the amount of the deposit I wanted to pay and stuff like that. And he ran the numbers for me, told me what the payments would look like, and then told me that he would get their finance person to call me back. So again, I was waiting and I was pacing. I went back upstairs, talking to my roommate and his girlfriend, just pacing, and about half an hour later, because the dealership was going to close at that point in about an hour. So I waited. She called me back and we started talking about what financing would look like. And next thing you know, over the phone, I had put down a deposit on the bike. And from that point, I had put down half of the deposit on the bike. I put down a deposit, and then after she ran everything against the interest and everything that I was going to have to pay, she came back and said that I would have to put down another chunk of money. But besides that, once my first deposit payment went through, I got an email that said, "The bike is yours, congratulations." Well, so I was so excited, so excited. I'd never done anything like that before. I was super excited about it. I was so happy. And then buyer's remorse kicked in, because I'm like that. I'm kind of a chronic procrastinator. So I had buyer's remorse immediately, but I was like, nope, I'm gonna stick this out. Look at what I've done. I worked so hard to get to this point, and I was terrified and proud of myself at the same time. I went with it. I am not going to rinse my LECA. I know I should, but I'm not going to. So after that, I had to wait a week to go back and put the rest of the deposit down on the bike, because I had to work, and I had to wait a week to go get the bike. So I talked to a couple of my riding friends, talked them into coming with me to go get the bike, going through all that stuff and bringing the bike home. So I was so excited the night before. My little LECA layer. I was so excited the night before I could barely sleep. So I went to the dealership, all of that. They were having an event on at the same time, and got all the paperwork done and everything. I got handed the keys. The girl that owned the bike, one of the things I liked about the bike was that it was female owned, and she had actually done all the work to the bike herself. So I had done all the paperwork, got the keys, got the congratulations, went over to the insurance side, because they do have in-house insurance guys, to do the transfer of the bike over, and, you know, to give me a permit or any insurance that I wanted to take the bike home. And I went and I did that, and then all of a sudden he had no internet. So we're sitting there and there's no internet, and I'm getting antsy, because what could go wrong? I've paid for the bike, everything else was fine, everything went so smoothly, and now I couldn't transfer the bike into my name or get a permit for it to take it home. So I sat there, me and my friends, who were incredibly patient, and they've been through this process before, so, you know, they were great at talking me through it. And it took about another half an hour, 45 minutes. It was actually funny, because it took the finance lady. She came out and she asked, she's like, "Oh, you're still here?" And I said, "Yeah, apparently your Wi-Fi, like, you've got no internet and I can't get this happening." She sat down, and within 2-3 minutes, she had the internet going, and I was able to transfer the motorcycle over. And take possession of it. So after that, kind of hung out for a little while, you know, chit-chatting about the bike and all of that. And it was a bigger bike than what I was used to, because the bike that I ended up buying was a 2006 Dyna Superglide. And where my Sportster was a 1200 cc bike, the Superglide is a 1450. So not that that was intimidating, but the bike itself compared to my old bike was just bigger in general. Not too big, but it was bigger. So I had a little bit of anxiety about that. It was also kind of it was supposed to rain that day, so my girlfriend was actually gonna ride the bike home for me, because one of the things that I don't normally do is ride in the rain. And being as it was a bike I had never ridden, and she has a Dyna herself, she agreed to ride the bike home for me and give me her opinion of the bike and how it rode. Anyway, so there's that long story. So I got the bike home, I was so happy, and that leads me to the third thing that happened. But until I get there, so here we go. Oh, I don't know. Okay, we're gonna look. Let's get back. Okay, so here we go. Not too bad. I think it'll like it in there. I'll give it a little bit of a water and we'll see how it goes, but I feel confident about this. I do. I hope it survives. There's going to be a lot of cutting things off here, but you know what? And then this leaf here's got some bleaching on it. I don't know what from, but I can tell by looking at this alocasia that watering was definitely an issue with it based on the tips and just this yellowing. It just looks to me like it was inconsistent watering, nothing fungal. But we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, okay, so there is the alocasia dragon scale. All right, you go down there. Now, okay, next up, we are going to do the silver dragon. So let's get you over here. I'm probably gonna have to mix up more soil for the Scindapsus, but that's fine. Ooh, let's see what we got going on. Okay, so this one, yeah, some of the roots look a little mushy, so we'll be pulling those off. See, this one stayed damp though, where the other one was dry as a bone. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so yes. So I, by a complete fluke, bought a motorcycle. So then I brought home the battery for the Sportster, and then decided that, you know what, the best thing for me to do would be to sell the Sportster and put that money down on any credit I used to get the new bike. And I asked my roommate for help because I do not know anything about listing vehicles. I've never done it. I've never had to. Somebody else had always listed, you know, or dealt with my vehicle sales and stuff like that. And as far as motorcycles went, that was just way outside of my realm to handle. So my roommate, for a small fee, he took over the sale of that for me. He posted the ad, he wrote the ad, he posted the ad, he dealt with all the people that were interested in the bike, the messages, all of that. I wouldn't have known. I'm not a haggler, right? So he knows how to do all of that stuff. So he posted my Sportster on a Friday, and I mean, the bike was dusty. It had been sitting in the garage for a couple of years. I wanted to clean it, and my friends were like, no, don't clean it, just sell it as it is. And I couldn't do it. So I had gotten this this detailing stuff. It was new for cars and motorcycles. It's just this detailer. And I wanted to try using it, so I went out. He listed it on a Friday. I went out on a Monday evening, went out there, had pulled the bike out, and because we had taken pictures and stuff and had it out back, and started to clean her up, and she looked really, really nice, really shiny and stuff. And I even thought to myself, I'm like, I can have 2 bikes, right? Like, I don't need to sell this one. I was attached to it. I'd learned to ride on it. It meant a lot to me. And an hour after cleaning it, I came in the house. I was all proud of how nice it looked, and my roommate came downstairs and said the bike's been sold. And I deflated right there. I had mixed feelings because I had this beautiful new bike, and I was already becoming attached to this new bike. Hadn't even ridden it yet. I was super excited to ride it because over the past few years, I had lost the drive to ride. So with this new bike, I had found that drive again, and that was fine. And what I did after that was get a little sad, but prepare myself. Anyway, super long story shorter than it is. The guy that bought the bike was actually so excited to have it. He didn't want to change anything too major, just a few things he wanted to change on the bike, and he was so excited about it that I felt good about letting him take the bike. But then I still had to hang on to it for a few days because he had to come back and pick it up and take it home. So did that, sat with her for another few days. They came back a few days later, and he did the same thing I did. He brought a friend of his along to ride the bike home, but then it turned out that he forgot the key at home. So we had to find another way to kind of load her on his truck and stuff like that. And saying goodbye to that bike was bittersweet, but I'm glad that she has somebody that is going to take care of her. All right. So, they say that good things happen in 3s. Actually, correction, they say bad things happen in 3s. But for me, I had 3 good things happen. And that was getting the new job, buying that motorcycle, and saying goodbye to my old motorcycle, because it was a good thing that it went to somebody who was excited about it. Since then, I have ridden the new bike, and I am absolutely in love with her. It fits me way better than the other one, and it's just a new chapter going on now. Okay, so the roots aren't that bad, and the thing that you probably haven't been able to see while I've been doing this is that both of these plants, as we know, are in plugs. So I never dig in there too much to rip the plugs out. And here's another tiny corm. So now I've got a dragon scale corm and a silver dragon corm that I can plant and see how that goes. Well, yeah, okay. So now I've got that. Put you in here. So that's kind of what's been going on, and that's why I haven't been around much. I've just been, dealing with all of this, trying to get used to a new job, which has been just a huge learning curve when it comes to some things. And then, just the whole bike thing, I hadn't had time to film, and even when I did film, I didn't have time to edit. It was a lot. But now that that's all done, I can film again. I have the time. because now I can spend the time filming and editing during the week, and then I've got my weekends to go and do my other hobby. And I do have to say that I definitely want to be out there more now. And if you've never ridden, I can't explain it to you. If you have, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just something you either want to do and you can commit to, or you don't, and that's okay. I myself love it. All right. So that is what has been going on for me. Oh, I didn't even show you guys. I should have showed you guys the size of this pumice that I got. It's like massive. They're like the size of Lecca balls. A couple of them are even bigger than the Lecca balls. It's crazy. All right, so I don't know how much of that you could see, but there is the Alocasia Silver Dragon. Okay, I am going to go get some more soil for the Scindapsus, and I will be back in a sec. Next, we have the Scindapsus. So, I just have to undo this, and this is actually pretty cool because I do need a smaller little hanging basket. So this is going to come in really handy for something else I have. Oh no! I lost a corm. And now I don't know which one it was. Because I think it was actually the dragon scale corm. This is actually hooked on roots. There's roots stuck up there. Where's that corm? There it is. Yeah, okay, it is the dragon scale corm. All right. So here she is. Nice and full. But let's see. She's got a lot of vines going on in here. So let's see. Oh my goodness. All right, well, it doesn't want to, oh, there we go, come out. Oh, and I see why. Well, well, well. Look at that. That explains why this one gets dry so fast. Now, this one actually looks like it has some kind of husks in it. I've seen that somewhere too, but I don't know what they are. If anybody knows what type of husks people might put in their houseplants, I don't think, it's not rice husks. You know what? I don't know. I don't know, but they're all over like the top of this plant, and I don't think I'm going to be able to, let's see. I don't want to unwind it too much, just because normally I don't disrupt the plant's root systems very often. I will just kind of dump the chunk in there, but I do, this soil is very compact and looks really hydrophobic at the top. So that needs to change. Plus there's also roots hanging out on the top of the soil, and I would definitely like to get rid of those. So maybe I will zoom you guys in a little bit for this. Let's see. So yeah, I just stick my chopstick in and give it a little wiggle. This one's definitely easier than the alocasias were. And I mean, I'm not worried if I break any roots for the Scindapsus because they're pretty hardy plants, I have to say. I have put some of mine through so much and they still continue to grow for me. In some cases, it's taken a little bit, like my Scindapsus dark form, for some reason, out of the 3 strands, or the 3, what's the word I'm looking for? The 3 cuttings that I have in there, 2 of the 3 constantly won't uptake water. I'll pull them out and then I put them in water and then I put them back in soil and they do the same thing again. So I pull them out, put them back in water, and then put them back in soil and they do it again. So I'm thinking that what I'm going to try to do, because I am still experimenting with pon and perlite, definitely mixing the pon with perlite, is I think that I'm going to take those ones that are in water that I keep rehydrating. I'm going to put them in pon and see how they do. I do have one strand in there that seems to just be fine, and it's loving life and it's growing, and I'll just have to do with it what I've done to all the other ones that started off as a 1-leaf cutting, and that is just chop and prop it until it's full. That is just where that's gonna go. And it's something that I've been doing constantly over the spring and now the summer, is if they get to a certain length, because they're actually on a shelf right over my TV, they get to a certain length. Once they start hitting the second shelf underneath it, I chop them and I prop them. Okay, we're almost, this part here is super dense, but we're getting there. Just have all these little husks falling all over the place. It's weird though that they're only on the top. I wonder if it was like a top dressing type thing or if it actually benefits the plant at all. I don't know. But I will be back to filming regularly again now. My last video was just short and sweet. I was filming the unboxings because they were quick and just easy to do. But at the same time, I think it was 3 weeks before I made that post, and usually I post every week, so. Okay. I'm just getting dirt everywhere, and that's okay. Okay. Like, look at this mess. And I don't have to get all the dirt off because I do want some of the cultures that it's been growing in to stay in there. But I definitely have to get, whoops, this, oh no, let go, there we go. I have to get this top bit of soil, at least with enough space in between it so that it will, and see, they're all, even these ones, all of these are in tiny little plugs. Like, look at that, and I'm not pulling that out. So yeah, this one too, tiny little plug. So at least now I know how they made this so full, not that that was really a surprise. I have never seen a bunch of tiny little plugs like that though. I've seen, you know, different stems and stuff in there, different vines, but never seen like a bunch of them in little plugs. Oh my goodness, there's dirt all over my lap. But we're almost out of here. This is probably the longest video I've filmed in a while. I mean, I've been filming for almost an hour at this point. How much you guys are gonna see is gonna be surprising, but we're definitely hitting the hour mark here. So I'm just rambling. But really, I don't talk very much about things that are going on in my life. So I figured this time that I would. Okay, this one side over here is just a little too hard to bust into, so what I'm doing is I'm just poking holes here through the top, and I'll actually use my chopstick too to just break that up a little bit so that it will retain some water or get water down in there. Okay, so I'm not going to do too much more with that. I mean, look at all of this, and this is dry. Like, this is dry, and I watered it like thoroughly. At least I thought it was thoroughly. It was pretty compact though, so I guess it makes sense that I thought it was thorough, but it wasn't really thorough. Okay, so I don't want to do any more damage to that. Just look at that. There's all these little husky things everywhere. Oh, don't get my corms stuck in there. So I've got a little container of perlite that I've been putting all my corms into. Well, all my corms, there's only 4. And I know that 2 of the 4 are black velvet corms, and the other 2 are pink dragon corms. And I don't know which is which, so I'm leaving it a mystery, and I'm gonna throw those ones in there too to continue that. Okay, so now I've got my self-watering pot, and I'm gonna put leca just in those bottom legs, just to fill up those little holes. I mean, I could put just a layer. You know what? This leca is actually damp. So there we go. I guess I didn't have to. And just in case you're wondering what leca I got, it's this one here. I just got it off Amazon. No biggie. Okay, now hopefully this root ball, once I put soil in there, oh, that's going to be, might be a little bit tight. But that's okay. That is okay. So I got my soil, and I mean, this is one of the smaller pieces of pumice. Like, look at that. That thing is huge. Huge. And my camera is focusing on the plant, so I don't blame it because it is beautiful. So I'm just going to put just a thin layer over top of that leca. And let's see how this will work. I'm probably going to have to pull it out of here sooner rather than later. It is going to have some room to grow, and I just want it to be happy and healthy, and that's it. I mean, later on we'll see. I also have, whoops, I've got my Scindapsus argyraeus. I know, I always used to say argyraeus, but I keep hearing more and more people say argyraeus. That Scindapsus, which is going to need to be up potted for sure. It does have roots coming out the bottom. But I keep chopping and propping it. It's just every time I even think about repotting it, I add a new vine to it, and then I literally have to wait until that one catches on before I repot it, because I don't want to shock it too much. Now, I've been using a lot of clear pots lately, and one of the things that I like about them is that I can see when there's gaps. I can see when there's gaps, but I can't see this one. I still have roots on the top I have to cover. I can't tell if there's gaps. I mean, it's fine. Once I water it in, the soil will settle into those gaps. But with the clear pots, I can see where they are and make sure that everything is okay. So I'm just gonna beat this one a little bit. And the one thing I've found is that, you know what, if there's gaps, it's not the end of the world. It gives them a little bit more air. And a place for the roots to fill. Okay, I think that is it. All right, so we got this one, and we've got this one, and I'm covered in dirt, which is great. Okay. Okay, and here we are. Alocasia Silver Dragon, Alocasia Dragon Scale, Scindapsus Silver Splash. Here we are. Here's the new babies. We've got this one right here. And we've got this one right here, which I actually think looks really cute. Now, if I can just get it growing straight up instead of leaning. And then I really like the Scindapsus Silver Splash. Like, that is just gorgeous. Okay guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope you are all safe and well. Please like and consider subscribing to my channel. Leave any comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.